out on that field today, ask yourself this question.
What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We ready! We ready! We ready! We ready! And don't do that! And don't do that!
When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
Football is getting hit. That's it.
It's gonna be football now! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's hunt now! Let's hunt now! Let's go! Let's hunt! We ready! And don't do that! And don't do that!
We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, how like we the Miami Heat of football. Yap, 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 yap. The bottom line is you got to buckle up your chin strap. It's embarrassing. Yap, 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 yap. Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from them. He's a man. They can be hit just like us. He's a man. You ought to make the big money. He's a man. Don't cry when you step on the field, man. That's war out there. When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like.
Oh, my bad, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world.
What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! We ready! And don't do that! And don't do that! It's a wrap. Game over.
Nope, game's not over. It is live right here on Throwback Thursday on the lunch break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV. Got my brother like no other who has filled in for me like a champ over the last couple Thursdays, man. Thank you. I just can't thank you enough.
My pleasure, man. Glad to do it. I enjoyed having the keys to the kingdom.
Bruh, you did the doggone thing last week, man. You had a whole doggone lineup, man. I need to call that the Hall of Fame show.
No, we can, man. It's good to know good people.
Yeah, man. Let me tell you, Kennetra, Andy, and Willie G. Come on, man. That's classic, bro. That's an instant classic.
So yeah, appreciate it, man. You know, they helped out. They knew you were under the weather, and they agreed to join and chip in and help out the lunch break.
I appreciate it. And I still haven't been released by the doctor yet, man. I'll tell you, this doggone walking pneumonia ain't no joke, man. It is not a joke.
Just do what you can to stay well, brother. You know, listen to the doctor's orders, man. You know,
listen.
I know you're not getting your rest like you're supposed to. I already know that for a fact. So you know,
I'm not, man. I mean, true story, bro. Like, so I've been taking the medicine and stuff, and some of the medicine either makes me sleepy or it makes me nauseous. I tend not to take it because I don't want to go to sleep and I don't want to feel nauseous. And one of our colleagues asked me to be on their show. I think it was Sunday night. Bruh, it was ugly. I'm literally having to jump off and, go and release what was upset in my stomach and then come back on like, hey, man, all right, I'm ready to go.
Wow.
Okay. I'm telling you, man, this thing is not a joke, man. So I'm trying.
You're on the mend, man. Just small steps forward, man. Let's keep doing that. Small steps forward.
Well, a lot has happened since we last got together, man. U of H suffered another loss. So far, Alabama and Temple. Tell me about that Temple loss.
Simply, UH did what Houston Cougar men's teams have done for years. Missed free throws.
Yeah.
They missed 10. Temple missed 2. Houston was 11 for 21.
Yeah.
Temple was 20 for 22.
Yeah.
So that's in a nutshell. Defensively, Temple only shot like 31% for the game. Temple did not make a basket the last 7 minutes of the ball game. So it just could, as simple as that, free throws. But after last night's game, when the Cougs won in Orlando against UCF, Coach Sampson mentioned in his post game that he was disappointed in the lack of fight and effort from the Cougars, from his team against Temple on Sunday. And let me say this: I'm not mocking Coach Sampson, because I do it a lot doing conference play. The days run together, man. What day is it? You know, I know today's Thursday because I'm on the lunch break. But there are times I'm like, man, today Wednesday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
So last night he was referencing the game against Temple as taking place Saturday, but it was Sunday. He said like 3 or 4 times.
Right.
But you know, because it all runs together, man. The Cougs played Sunday, they played last night Wednesday, and they play again Saturday afternoon here at home against Cincinnati. So that's 3 games in 7 days, man. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
So
it's a lot. Yeah, it pays to be, the boss. Obviously, U of H still one of the top teams in the country. They dropped down from number 1 to number 3. Purdue currently is number 1. Is it Alabama number 2?
Alabama's number 2, and they had to come from behind last night to beat, I think, Mississippi State. Mississippi State by 3. Conference play. And let me say this. The loss to Temple, it was a home loss, so it was a bad loss right off the bat because it was a home loss.
Right.
Home conference loss. And then Temple, their net ranking was like in the 140, so it was a quad 3 loss, so it was bad in that sense as well. So of the top teams, Houston, Purdue, Alabama, Tennessee, UCLA, I think the Cougs are the only team to have suffered a quadrant 3 loss. Okay. So in that sense, it is a bad loss, no question. But Coach Sampson, for anyone who's listened all year, said that after the Alabama game, he said, we're going to lose again. Yeah. So it's going to happen. And then when it does, we'll bounce back and learn from it and move on.
Yeah.
And after they lost at Temple, we're going to lose again. So it might happen to Memphis, but this team is a good team. This team still has a chance to win a championship. Let's keep moving, man.
Yeah. With the way the current rankings are, is U of H still a number 1 seed in your mind based on what they've done so far?
In my mind, yes. And for most of the bracketology folks, they still are. And the guys, most of them, I've not seen any women do this, be bracketologists. And I'm sure if they're out there, let me know so I can start following you as well and give you some publicity. But most of them have the Cougs still as the 4th number 1 overall seed. CBS Sports, Jerry Palm has him as the number 2, but that was before Kansas lost Monday night to Baylor for their 3rd straight loss. So I'm sure they won't. Kansas will not be number 1 when he does his bracketology tomorrow, because most of them do now in conference play Monday and Friday, so twice a week. ESPN's guy does it Tuesdays and Friday, so he already had his changes made. So everybody should have another update on Friday.
Gotcha. Because when I look at the AP rankings, Purdue number 1, Alabama number 2, U of H number 3, Tennessee number 4. I can't imagine that that's what they're saying is going to be the top 4 seeds in the brackets. Purdue, yeah. Alabama, maybe. U of H, maybe. But Tennessee is not.
No, Tennessee's a 2. UCLA had a chance to be a 1 once Kansas lost Saturday and then lost again Monday.
Right.
And then UCLA lost to Arizona.
Right.
So I've seen some folks have Arizona as a 1. So I think that's unlikely. So I think Houston is still a number 1 seed because of the conference they are in. If they lose again in conference play, they probably will not be a number 1 seed because the other teams they're competing with are in perceived power programs. So, that'll knock them down to a 2. It's all good. But we need to ask Kennetra Pulliams if the KU fans are crying and mourning and weeping, or just want Bill Self fired because they've lost 3 in a row and the sky is clearly falling, because clearly Bill Self has forgot how to be a good coach because he lost 3 in a row.
Oh,
is that the case?
You got jokes this morning or this day. Good afternoon. First off, AJ, so good to see you. So good to have you back. But Kris, look at here. Yes, it's 3 losses in a row.
Look at here, she told me. Look at here, she said to me.
It's 3 conference losses.
Oh my God.
But if you would spread the losses out, just say 1 a month, then it wouldn't seem so bad. It's just magnified because they just happened in succession. But no, Bill Self admitted this is a flawed team, that has been exposed with the lack of a bench and the lack of depth and the lack of a true post player. You don't have the Jeff Withey, Udoka Azubuike, Cole Aldridge. You don't have those big Joel Embiid,
David McCormick.
Right. You don't have those guys, and you don't have a Mitch McCormick coming off the bench. So you're having KJ Adams, who is he's a stretch 4. He's 6'6". So he's trying to do his best going up against bigger, stronger guys. And when he gets into foul trouble, which happened against Baylor, there's no one, neither of the Zach Clements hasn't bulked up much from last season. Zuby and Ernest Uday, neither one of those guys, they're both freshmen, so they're still trying to learn what college basketball is about, what Bill Self system is about, and what the Big 12 is about. So it right now there's a hole right there, especially in the middle, so you can't play really outside in. So yes, it's tough times. Nobody's really happy right now, but everything is still within reach. Now, look at it. Like the 3 losses came against 3 ranked teams. It's not like there really are no bottom feeders.
Kennetra.
Yeah, come on, hold on.
You know, I have so much appreciation for you.
Right.
Everything you're saying is factual.
Mm-hmm.
No question.
Butterama.
No. I just want to know, how are those fans, those fanatics in Lawrence? Do they get it too? Yes. They understand it?
You have the true blue crimson and blue wearing glasses folks who think that, oh my goodness, what's happening? But then there's others who are just like, if you look at it, KU can still win the Big 12 conference. But you're not even at the halfway point of conference season yet. No. Is anybody happy with what's happened over the last 2 weeks? Absolutely not. And hey, guess what? Saturday is not a time to put salve on the wounds because you're playing Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And you're playing an established big man in Oscar Tshiebwe, who was the defending National Player of the Year. And while he's not an offensive threat, he is going to crash the boards, which happened against Baylor for KU on Monday night. You have a great rebounding team. And yes, Kevin McCullough with double-digit rebounds is great. Jalen Woolston is pretty much averaging a double-double. But when you don't have everybody crashing the boards, it's tough. And while, Kentucky, they had their struggles already this season as well. Right. And those little blue-blooded fans, they were calling for Cal's head as well. Mm-hmm. But they've kind of gotten back on track a little bit. So, we'll see what happens in Rupp Arena on Saturday.
Gentlemen, Kris and Kennetra, first of all, we got to take a break. Okay. But Keith Hennig said, I didn't know you knew sign language. Probably talking to me because I was dancing. Yeah, I did. Nobody is enjoying this losing streak for Kansas more than me. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. So, and I know I'm not supposed to be biased and all that kind of stuff, but man, this feels good, boy. Can we extend this? I'm still not feeling well. If y'all are doing this because I'm not feeling well, I'm still not feeling well. Can we make it 4 in a row? Can we please? That would be great. That would be great.
We'll talk more on the other side of the break.
Yeah.
All right. I got to take the break, but I don't want to take the break because I want to keep glowing. I want to dance. I want to get it in. So anyway, we'll be right back right after this on the lunch break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV.
There's a 100% chance of a laugh thunderstorm. 4 men with different viewpoints take a movie, show, or documentary and review it uncensored, unfiltered, uncompromised, with no holds barred. Join BS3, Wilkes, King Doc, and H-Rap B as they take on Hollywood their own way. BS3 Network proudly presents The Forecast, where H-Rap B always predicts,
if I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God.
live every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
All right, y'all, we're back on the lunch break powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV. So glad to have Kennetra Pulliams with us and Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review. They've been holding it down for me in my absence, and I'm trying to be low-key today. But, man, Kennetra, I love that song you were singing a few minutes ago, man. That's my favorite jam. Say it again. Now, how many losses in a row does Kansas have? Tell me again one more time.
3 in a row. And it's a 4th time under Bill Self that the Jayhawks have lost 3 in a row. They've never, under Bill Self, they've never lost 4 in a row. Last time they lost 4 in a row was Roy Williams' first year.
Okay, so can we do this? Y'all probably need to move on from Bill Self. He probably has lost it. I probably need to move on from him.
He's still a Hall of Fame coach.
Huh?
He's still a Hall of Fame coach.
Just because he's a Hall of Fame coach don't mean you got to go in with him. You know, he can still come back and go in as a Kansas Jayhawk. I mean, I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. It's like, so you try to get right against Kentucky, and then guess what's waiting for you on the other side of that? A rematch against K-State. So mind you, that game is in Lawrence. So okay. Yeah.
Well, real quick, I will say this: the Big 12 is literally, and I'll finally go ahead and admit this, is literally like the SEC of basketball. You've got 6 schools that are 5-3 or better in conference play. And you're right, Kansas at 5-3 is way down at number 5, but they are 1 game out of the top spot in the Big 12. So got to give them credit. Listen, everybody in the conference has a winning record except Texas Tech. They're 10-10. Everybody has at least 11 wins or more. So it says a lot about the conference. But I will say this, man, that just tells me that Kansas got a chance to get beat up every time they play. So I really love that. I really love that. Kris, I'm sorry. I'm not feeling well. Let me be quiet. You go ahead.
God does not like ugly, AJ.
I said it very pretty. I said it with
you said it with a smile.
In my heart.
Yeah, he said it with a smile. Yeah. But yeah, Big 12 basketball is tough. It's a gauntlet. And on the women's side, it's the same there as well. And it was news.
Except for TCU.
They're probably gonna be looking for another coach after this season because Coach Peebley's her time might be up over there. But the first poll in 47 years of the history of women's college basketball polls, no school from Texas is in the AP poll. The sky's falling, but no one reported that.
That will change next week.
No one reported that 6 schools from the Big 12 are like in the top 20 in the net, and some of them are from Texas, which is more important than the AP poll.
Like really, so so the poll comes out Monday, and then Texas throttles Oklahoma.
Yes.
A ranked Oklahoma team, so expect the Longhorns to be in there next week.
Right, but gotta take a shot at Texas. That's okay. Once out of 47 years, it's all good.
Okay,
they'll be back.
Let me, and I know we're not talking about Texas men, but let me throw this in real quick, and then Kennetra, I got another question for you.
Yeah.
Is Texas better, worse, or just as good minus Chris Beard?
TBD.
To be determined. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think the players, from the comments that I've heard from the Texas players, they really like Rodney Terry, saying he's really a player's coach and he's very approachable. There's not, what Chris Beard was able to do in his career. He's a college coach, from D3 to JUCO ranks to mid-major, and then on up to leading Texas Tech to a Final Four. And then coming back to Texas. And, what happened is horrible and it's awful. But then it's like, okay, so where does Texas go next? We'll see what happens. But from is if Rodney Terry can keep Texas in the top 3 of the Big 12, then he deserves every right to have that interim tag removed and to be named permanent head coach. Because, if not him, then who? I mean, do you go get Cal? I mean, do you really? You have to do more than win the press conference.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really have somebody who understands the culture of the University of Texas. And, I don't care who you are. It's regardless of the football team's record, Texas is a football school.
Right.
So, know your place and be good with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. Kris.
And I don't know if Cal's ego can allow that to happen.
Yeah. I tell you, bringing Cal in would break my heart. I'd put him in the same category as Kansas, just FYI. Kris, your thoughts, better, worse, or just as good?
Right now, I think they're just as good. I mean, the rest of the season still needs to be played, but they're playing well under Coach Terry. They're still playing defense. They're getting after opponents. Coach Terry is much more even keel when compared to Chris Beard, AJ, as you have said many times about Chris Beard and his temper. So I think Coach Terry gets the interim tag removed and will be the permanent head coach of the Longhorns at season's end. And I think he deserves it.
And I think he having served under Rick Barnes for so long, he understands the culture of the university, of the city, of the program, and what exactly. Yeah, even though Chris Beard was a Texas grad and he was a student manager, in the program, Rodney Terry has been on that bench a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he really has Texas roots.
Yeah. Who's the recruiter there? Obviously Chris Beard's name brings in top recruits, and he was able to get some big transfers and some solid coaches to come to Austin. But who's the recruiter there? I know Rodney Terry can do the X's and O's, but can he recruit?
Yeah, I don't know who is charged as, kind of lead recruiter.
I know who it used to be. I'm not sure on this year's roster, but Rodney Terry used to be one of the main recruiters at previous stops. But Jay Lucas, I think was before he left in Kentucky, and Jay's now at Duke. So, but I mean, I'm not sure who it is right now, but probably somebody I know once I look it up on the roster. But that's not gonna be a problem. It's Texas.
Okay.
Texas in the SEC, money, Coach Terry, recruiting. It's not gonna be an issue. They got, I think, 1 or 2
McDonald's.
burger kids. So yeah, not gonna be a problem.
I like the way you said that. This is Lunch Break powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3. I got Kennetra Pulliams with us, got Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review. We're doing our thing for Throwback Thursday. Kennetra, before you came on, I asked Kris, on the men's side, who's your number 1 seeds so far on the men's side?
Purdue, Alabama. Tennessee. Maybe Houston. We'll see.
Wait a minute. So, and I know that's yours. I didn't say give us our, number 1 seeds, but that's interesting because mine was Purdue, Alabama, Houston, and maybe Tennessee. But you said just the opposite. Tennessee, maybe Houston. Why did those 2 flip for you?
Well, because I've seen Tennessee play more than Houston.
Okay.
Full disclosure. And I think the level of competition that Tennessee has played. I mean, Tennessee was the first team to beat Kansas this year. So, I've seen what Rick Barnes has, as far as players. So just for the eye test.
Okay.
My eye test.
Yeah.
That's why.
Fair take. I get accused of beating people up who don't have the same take as me, and the reality is, I just want people who know how to defend their take. I don't have to agree with it. It's your take, but you and I was literally curious. I wasn't challenging. I was literally
curious. And then I did not hear both of your opinions before I judge. So it's not like I'm like just kind of eavesdropping and just echoing what you guys said.
Yeah, true that. Appreciate that. Now let me take you to what I hadn't asked Kris on the women's side. Who's your number one seeds right now?
One is obvious.
Yeah, that's what it was on the men's side for me. Purdue is definitely a number
South
one.
Carolina.
Okay, South Carolina.
Probably still Stanford.
Okay.
Wow, I could see a case for Ohio State and Indiana from the Big Ten being number one seeds. I really could. I wouldn't hate you if somebody said that as well. UConn, if AZ Foot is out longer, I can't see them being the number one seed. That's not justified to me. But
Iowa,
a strong 2.
Okay.
But right now, I mean, I'm okay with Indiana and Ohio State. Ohio State still being the fourth number one right now, and like I'll be number 5 because they just waxed them on Monday of this week. So, Willie Gibson.
Kennetra, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm kind of like right in line, same way, with Kris. I don't think there's as much argument kind of on the women's side or as much lobbying, like you can, move, here and there. I think they're pretty much entrenched as where they are. And, there's 2 clear front runners, but I think the health concerns surrounding UConn, that's the kind of the biggest question mark.
Yeah. What's interesting is I'm a little bit older than both y'all combined. And I remember when Cincinnati was a top team and Kenyon Martin got hurt near the end of the year and automatically dropped them down from being a number one seed simply because, and they won without him, and simply because he got hurt. So I expect the committee, whenever a top player for a team goes down, you automatically got to bump them down because of what you did to Cincinnati back in the day. So
but I mean, and that's, and I think there aren't like on the clear cut South Carolina is number 1, but I just think Caitlin Clark is a phenomenal player. So we'll see. And then, especially, and then with Notre Dame losing one of their starters, like it's magnified when key starters go down on the women's side.
Yeah.
How do those teams respond?
Yeah. Keith Hennick, I would have agreed with him earlier in the season, but for some reason they have not been as consistent as I thought that they would be. He says, don't sleep on the Lady Horns. What are your thoughts, Kennetra and Kris?
Well, Aaliyah Moore's out for the year. So up front, that's a big blow. And Roy Harmon missed games early in the season, and they struggle without her. I mean, she's one of the best point guards in the country. So you're going to struggle without one of your best players. Yeah. So they're kind of adjusting to life without Aaliyah Moore now in conference play. So I think they'll be okay, but they're not a number one seed. No.
Yeah, no. I mean, they'll they will be pressed just to win the Big 12.
Yeah.
I mean, you can play really well. I mean, they're really great at Moody, but on the road, we'll see. But it's just kind of like Iowa State, OU, and Texas to me are the top 3 teams in the Big 12 on the women's side. And
Iowa State is now adjusting to life without Stephanie Suarez, one of their best big player out with ACL. So now ACLs are back in unfortunate vogue on women's college basketball.
Trending. So where do you guys project LSU on the women's side?
I was just going to get to that.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. So let me preface what I was going to say. Okay. Let's talk sleepers now. I'll give you a couple of teams, and you tell me where they fall in your sleeper category. On the women's side, we'll start with LSU, but we got to take our bottom of the hour break. So we'll do that when we come back. It's the lunch break. Throwback Thursday, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of these folks right here.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Changing the way you watch TV, BS3 TV. If you got a Roku streaming device, just download BS3 TV. You will be glad you did. If you don't have that, or like me, you need to upgrade yours, just go to the website, bs3network.com. That's bs3network.com. Again, changing the way you watch TV. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball review, Kennetra Pulliams from Big 12 and ESPN Plus. Did I get it right?
That's correct.
All right. Joining us here on the lunch break, right before the bottom of the hour break, we were going to bring up teams that I consider sleepers. It's kind of hard to call a 20-0 LSU team a sleeper, but they're right behind a 20-0 South Carolina. So where do you put LSU in your mix as far as Final Four, as far as top seeds go? Kennetra, you go first.
Yeah, I mean, definitely with the way that Angel Reese is playing, breaking the program record with 20 consecutive double-doubles. I mean, Kim Mulkey has the Lady Tigers kind of – why do you bristle?
Because, man, that name.
He's not a fan of Coach Mulkey.
Listen, something happens when you call on the name of Jesus, but something happens when you say that name to me.
I understand. But just with the way that she has – her collection of players playing.
Can we just say the coach? The way the coach is coaching,
the way she.
Yeah.
So right now right now LSU is definitely a contender to get in there, on a one seed. But yeah, like you said, you're playing in the shadow, the SEC shadow of the defending national champions.
So let me just say this: I've looked at their schedule. First part of the schedule was real light. Now, obviously,
you're being kind, my man. Real life.
Yeah.
It was a travesty for a top-tier program to play that many cupcakes.
Yeah. Now, obviously, conference play is different, but that 20-0 has a whole lot of fluff in it. Got a whole lot of fluff in it, and I know that there's some value in having your players feel what it feels like to win. That develops culture. But man, come on now, they rank real high for their strength of schedule. I know they don't do strength of schedule, but they rank real high that schedule that they play.
I mean, it's especially on the women's side for its committee, it's still one of the 14 criteria that members use for selection. Their non-conference strength of schedule is like 300 and something. I mean, that's just awful. That's embarrassing for a top program.
It really is.
In my opinion, that is. If you are a top-tier program, play top-tier team non-conference. You got to play all of them top-tier like Tennessee did, and Lady Vols took a lot of beatings because of it.
Think that this is more hate of the head coach. I feel the same way about Georgia and their upcoming on the football side. You cannot be the number one team in the country and play that kind of schedule. I've said it about Alabama. You can't play Samford before you play Auburn and think that you've done something. So this is not an attack of the head coach and the program at LSU. This is just calling out the same thing. If you want to be the top team in the country, then you need to play like you're the top team in the country. And you need to be hiding from anybody, and you definitely don't need to pad your schedule.
And that's the thing I don't like about SEC football. Like, why are you playing a cupcake non-con in November? Like, get them out the way in September. And I know things were a little different, for KU this year in that they played a conference game week 2, then jumped back and played U of H, week 3. So that's still September.
Right.
Like in November, like, okay, let's just, if we need to rest some people or you need to play somebody else, give somebody some experience who's going to redshirt, then that's, but like, I don't like how that is set up.
Yep. No, I agree with you because there's literally no excuse for it. You can still play money games, but in college basketball, everybody gets a shot at the trophy. So you don't have to help another program out. They can still get into, the tournament based on their success and their schedule. There's no reason for the top teams to be playing down on a consistent basis. And that's what she did before, they got into their conference play.
Yeah. And that's not because everybody was critical of LSU's non-conference schedule and said, well, we'll see what they do once conference play starts. Well, they're still undefeated in conference play. They're 8-0, so they're playing. Angel Reese is putting up this sensational numbers, and she should get some serious consideration for National Player of the Year.
Gotcha.
not just Aaliyah Boston.
Yeah.
See Willie Gibson chiming in. Maybe he can comment on Caitlin Clark and the performance she put on against Ohio State. Triple-double. The first triple-double against the top 5, top 2 program.
I thought I was petty, but man, I
since
see
D-Wade
it
did it on the inside.
It runs in our family, girl.
Oh, no, but credit to Willie Gibson. He said on Folks Talking Sports, he gave a shout-out to Ohio State and said for the viewers to watch Iowa, Ohio State, because Caitlin Clark for Iowa is must-see TV, and she represented what he said right there big time Monday against the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me give you some more sleepers.
Houston? Oh, I'm sorry.
On the women's side.
Houston? What? Houston? AJ?
Is there
ignoring me, right? Kennetra, he's ignoring what I'm saying there. Houston? AJ?
Two teams that I want to talk about on the women's side from the same conference, Tennessee and Ole Miss. Tennessee's 8-0 in conference. Ole Miss is 5-2. I had one of their assistant coaches on earlier or near the end of last year, and they're another one of those teams. They don't get a lot of love during the middle of the year, but at the end of the year, some kind of way, they're in the top 25. So those two teams. Kennetra, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's been a baby steps of Tennessee trying to return to the consistent, perennial national prominence of a contender that they were under Pat Summitt. You know, with the We Back Pat, week, currently going on, but it's trying to find, okay, who is the right person to lead the Lady Vols to emerge from the late Pat Summitt's formidable shadow and all that she's accomplished. It's been tough and it's been frustrating, but it finally looks like they're heading in the right direction to ascend back. And so, yeah, it'd be great if not just for the SEC, but for all of college basketball. I mean, if you have LSU and South Carolina and Tennessee all just kind of, I mean, of course, those teams outside the SEC will just sit back and just wait. Like, okay, y'all beat up on each other. Fine. We'll just sit here.
Right.
And take over. So.
Yeah. No, it on the men's side, we always talk about the blue blood programs. Tennessee is definitely a blue blood program on the women's side. And to have them back is just good for the sport. It's just good for definitely good for the conference, but very good for the sport as a whole.
We'll see what they do. They got UConn tonight, and I think LSU on Monday. But at Ole Miss, Coach Yo, everybody loves Coach Yo. She's great. She's personable. She's restoring what really Van Chancellor did years ago at Ole Miss. It's taken a while.
Yeah.
But Tennessee they struggled non-conference. They had so many. That team, this year's team, is an example of bringing in too much talent, too many newcomers and transfers, and taking a long time to gel and get stuff together. So the coaching staff, they had like 10 new players.
Talent doesn't make a team.
Yeah, exactly. And they found that out in the non-conference play.
You can have great individual pieces.
So,
Dallas Cowboy fans. That was a free revelation for you, Dallas Cowboy fans. But anyway, on the men's side.
But AJ, you're not going to answer my pettiness.
What'd you say
about Houston?
I wasn't
as a sleeper.
I wasn't
a sleeper on the women's side. You're not going to do that. They won last night, AJ.
They did. I started to send you a message, but I decided it's too early in the year for me to use all my petty chits. So I'm gonna save a few of them.
4-3 in the American. They won big last night, about 24 on the road.
Leave them alone.
They're on ESPNU this Sunday.
On the men's side, what say ye about Arkansas? Kris Gardner, Arkansas.
They're a sleeper. Yeah, I mean, I think Coach Mosman. What's the young man's name? Nick Smith. His injury status kind of limits how far they'll go. come tournament time, but they got talent for sure. But yeah, I think they're a sleeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you see, I like the energy when it is used thoughtfully and within reason of Eric Musselman. Sometimes it gets a little out of bounds.
Oh yes,
we know.
Yes.
But I mean,
we know.
Right. But I mean, it'll be great this Saturday. Arkansas in Waco at the Farrell Center against Baylor. So in the last year of the last full season of basketball in the Farrell Center. But I don't understand
question
why.
For you.
Yeah.
Kennetra, is I forget, and I haven't looked it up this week. Is this the last year of the SEC Big 12 Challenge?
It is.
Boy, that stinks.
Well, no, it's a TV thing.
Okay.
I don't think
because
it's
I mean, no, I know that because it's part of the new TV deal, something like that. But because I'm trying to figure out.
It's ACC, SEC.
That's it. Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to see who the Big 12 is going to play once the Cougs are part of it.
I was just Kennetra. It's all about the Cougs and the Longhorns meeting in that challenge for Kris. That's all. That's what it's all about.
Oh no, I wasn't even thinking that. I'm just trying to see what team that Cougs is going to play in it because they faced Alabama, non-conference. Been great.
We'll never know. Unless it happens in the NCAA tournament, and then you could kind of put your own label on top of it and call it, the March version of the Big 12.
They got to play behind closed doors like Kentucky and Texas Wesleyan. That's what they got to do.
They scrimmage, this in October.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to scrimmage. I'd like to see it, in front of everybody and be there with a front row seat.
Yeah, this ain't Rocky 12 where they fighting outside in the backyard somewhere, in the alleyway somewhere where all the street fighters know about it. We want to see it happen. So listen, I gotta get a question in on the pro side. So I know our head coach is in trouble down here. I know that Stephen Silas is in trouble. Pair what's happening with the Rockets' 12-game losing streak, 13-game losing streak, along with what was said by John Wall on a podcast. Is there something going on that we don't know? Kris Gardner.
I didn't hear. What did John Wall say?
He said that the organization was trash. He said the things that they were doing with young players, they're not developing them. He said there is rampant tanking going on.
Yeah, he said that point blank. Yeah.
And I didn't downplay.
He said it with his chest.
With a few colorful words tossed in. Oh yeah, no question with his chest. But the hilarious line, because I'll get to the other part in a second. The hilarious thing he said in the podcast was when James Harden. It sounded like when James met him at the airport, or called him and said, "Hey man, I'm about to go to Atlanta for who was it? Party? Whose birthday party? Little baby's birthday party?
Baby's,
somebody?
Yeah, little baby's birthday party.
You want to come with me?" And John's like, "Bruh, I just got to Houston. I can't just go to a party. I'm trying to make a good impression here." So I truly believe James said that. No question.
Oh, ain't no doubt about that. Yeah,
John said the organization is trash. I think that's more of a Tillman thing, not a Stephen Silas thing. But he also mentioned and referenced the coming off the bench, not playing fewer minutes discussion. And he said that Stephen Silas called him and asked him, "Hey, how'd you feel about coming off the bench?" And John said, "For who? Who's better than me?" Because he's like, make them earn it. I want them to earn it.
Right.
And according to John, Stephen said to him, this is what they want to do. Well, they is not Stephen Silas.
True.
Okay. So they.
And it's not Rafael Stone to me either.
I don't know about that.
Okay. Well, put me on game, but I thought that it was a higher call than Rafael and Silas. But bring me up if I'm wrong.
I'm not sure about that one. I begin to have my doubts on that. Rafael may have had some talk with Tillman about Do you really want to do this? Do you understand what this means about paying a man $40+ million to not play? Possibly, but I don't think Rafael. It took much arm twisting for Rafael to say, "Yeah, okay, I'm good with that." Okay,
Gotcha.
No,
Gotcha.
That made no sense. And then Rafael and John had the Kumbaya press conference. Oh yes, John's on. We're on the same page with this. No, John wasn't. John was like, no, yeah. What, John? Will you try with the team? Yeah. We're not going to play. Yeah. John should have said right there at the press conference, "This is some garbage." So, translate the word for you. I'm not with this. Trade me now because I'm not with this at all.
He should have went Ed Reed on him. Put Ed Reed on him.
Yeah.
Dagger.
You can get that.
Because he did not want to come off the bench.
Talking to you. We fight all the time. Y'all please.
He should have just been 100, like the youngsters say. Keep it a buck.
Okay. So what's the likelihood of James Harden coming back to Houston? No?
Very, very slim.
Slim to none?
Slim to none. More none than slim. Yeah.
And slim to none and Slim just left the building?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Nah, we ain't playing with other people's kids. Golden State. All that talk, and they got two more. They got one more win than the Lakers and two fewer losses.
Look at the standings, man. Look at the standings. AJ, seriously, like Minnesota is not far from the 4th spot. Minnesota. The troubles that Minnesota's had with consistency, they're not far from. I mean, that just blew me away. But can I talk about this?
Wait, hold on. I got to put this up because this junk is funny. Harden don't deserve to wear a Houston jersey unless we get a victory team. Classic, Doc. Hey, you got the post of the week, bro. You go,
Tony.
You got it. Tony M, you the man. Go ahead, Chris. Talk about what?
But I mean, come on. Minnesota's not good. They lost to the Rockets. Minnesota's lost to the Rockets and Detroit twice, but they're still not far from a top 4 spot in the West. Wow, the West is really up and down. But what I want to say, did y'all see Stephen tossing the mouthpiece? It's a rule, an NBA rule.
Yep.
And there were media last night who were defending Steph. I don't understand why he got ejected.
Because they didn't know the rule. Because they didn't know.
I mean, come on. Oh, shame on the ref. The ref of the NBA is soft. I mean, Steph got tossed for that. But first, it's gross. It's nasty. I don't want no mouthpiece going into the stands. I don't care if it's Steph's or not.
Right.
I was surprised Steve Kerr ran the final play for Jordan Poole after Jordan Poole got Steph. He's so pissed off he got him ejected. So what does it say about Jordan Poole and Steve Kerr? Because that shot was a horrible shot that Jordan Poole took.
Yes. How different, or not how different, how much impact did the Jordan Poole, Draymond tete-a-tete have the lingering effects on the struggles of Golden State this season?
Let me touch on one part of that, and Chris, I'll let you have it. I feel like it put Jordan Poole almost in an untouchable category. Other players can't jump in his face, and the coach can't look like he's punishing Jordan Poole for anything. So even when things shouldn't be Jordan Poole related, it's almost like they have to be Jordan Poole related. And I don't like that. I don't like that. Bruh, it ain't nobody else's fault you can't fight. I get it. You shouldn't have had to fight, but we're not going to feel sorry for you because you got punched in the mouth. And that should have been from the head coach, general manager, owner. That should have been from everybody down. Learn how to fight. Stop getting in verbal confrontations. And, oh, yeah, by the way, here's your role on this team. That's just my 2 cents. Go ahead, Chris.
And Jordan Poole is getting away with stuff on a basketball court. The shot selection, the horrible passes, the travels. I mean, this poor decision-making that very few non-superstars would get away with on any other team. So I think the Draymond tete-a-tete, as Kennetra put it so eloquently, it has, boxed Warriors in because that stuff last night, I mean, And did you see the fumble pass that Klay Thompson caught to make the shot? It was like Jordan's like, here, he won't take it back, and the ball fell out of his hands and rolled to Klay, and Klay went and got it, made the bucket. Jordan Poole he's a time bomb, man. He's a ticking time bomb, and yet still, Steve Kerr still drew up the final play.
The game-winning shot.
Game-winning shot.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then of course, and then he makes it. So like now he's really untouchable.
Yeah.
So like, if you would have missed it, then you're like, okay, you can blame him for something. But now it's just like, dang.
Yep.
Yeah. I would check his trade value. That's what I would check. But that's just me. I'm
Warriors fans want that done.
Man.
Yeah, they
Lakers in 13th place, 3 games out of the number 4 spot. Willie Gibson. That's a Willie Gibson. All right, y'all. Listen, we're down to final remarks. Kennetra, you go first.
Just go for hopefully Bill Self has kind of teased that everything is on the table as far as shaking things up. I don't know if that means tinkering with the starting lineup or just the rotation. Press conference is coming in about an hour. Just kind of previewing the Kentucky game. So we'll see what happens.
I was hoping you was going to tell me he was going to tinker with himself, but that's not in the plans. All right, Kris Gardner.
AJ, will I see you? Are you going to be well enough to be at TSU this Saturday?
That's the plan.
Because TSU, Prairie View are playing earlier. Women play at 3, and the fellas probably 5:20, 5:30. They say 5. Ain't no way. Come on. The women's game ends at 3.
Right.
The men's game not starting at 5.
I'm looking to be at the women's game and the men's game. So yeah, that's the plan.
Okay, so I'll see you for the fellas because UH plays at 1 and Rice plays at 2. And I hate when they do all these games at the same time during the day on Saturdays. Get stuff out, man. For basketball fans and folks who want to give y'all shine, like me, But anyway.
Nah, you ain't swag. You ain't swag.
I'm not swag. I'm not swag. Yeah, that's true.
You got Ed Reed fired, man. You didn't clean up Ed Reed's office, man. You ain't swag. Ain't swag.
But it's all good there. I'll be there anyway. Me and my non-swag self will be one of the few media there. So, but anyway, are we gonna close it out? So I can do my close out now.
Gonna do your close out now, Kris.
All right. Oh, Kennetra, are you gonna do a pregame show Saturday?
Pregame show from Lexington, from Rupp Arena on Big 12 Now, ESPN Plus, pregame and postgame. So
Queen is fancy, man. See, we're in the presence of royalty, man. See what I'm saying?
Kennetra, when I see you in public now, treat me the same way you treat me when we on the show together. Now, don't get high side.
Look, I will see you in Houston for the Final Four.
Yes,
okay. Kris, I'm gonna get the head nod. I'm gonna get the head.
So.
But
okay, Kris.
HoustonRoundballReview.com, Houston Roundball Review on Instagram and TikTok for now. Houston Roundball Review on YouTube as well. Twitter, the HR Review. Been doing this a long time. I'm so glad Kennetra is part of the Lunch Break family now. But the Houston Roundball Review since 1994. Local name, global perspective.
I love that. Love you both. We'll talk to y'all next week, okay?
Take care.
All right, y'all take care. Kris Gardner, Kennetra Pulliams, great people. So glad that they have made me a brother and a friend, and they filled in for me while I was gone. Excuse me, real quick. Let me remind the 6 that are still competing for the Lunch Break Weekly Keeping Up with the Joneses Pick'em Challenge playoff round. We are down to the conference championships. Again, got to have your picks in by Sunday at 1 p.m. Sunday at 1 p.m. for Erica with a K, Miss Pearl, Alexis, Amber, Emmanuel, and my good man Al High. Y'all send your picks in by Sunday at 1 o'clock. And let me give you the current standings. Right now, Miss Pearl is at number 1 with 10 wins. Erica with a K at number 2 with 9 based on tiebreaker. Amber, number 3 with 9 wins based on tiebreaker. Alexis at number 4, 9 wins based on tiebreaker. Emmanuel at number 5, 9 wins versus based on tiebreaker. And Al High is at number 6. But just like the NBA, from number 5 to number 1 to number 6 is 1 point. 1 point, 1 win difference. So stick with it. Give me your picks by Sunday at 2:00. You'll have a chance to win $500 cash. As always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I truly do love you. There is nothing you can do about it. Let me also say today is 3 years from the day that Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and several other good people were killed in a helicopter crash. Keep those families in your prayer, not just the Bryant family, but the other families in your prayers as well. Again, life has never been the same for them and many of us, because many of us, got a chance to know Kobe Bryant from his playing, got a chance to know his family from his playing. And it is almost like we lost family when that happened 3 years ago today. So again, y'all take care. We'll see you on tomorrow for Freestyle Friday.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today is Thursday, January 26, 2023. Number 1, House Democratic Caucus members held a news conference Wednesday following Speaker Kevin McCarthy's move to block Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell from serving on the House Select Intelligence Committee. Speaker McCarthy said the decision was not based on political payback because integrity matters and they have failed in that place. Political observers can say this counterpunch was not expected by House Democrats after former Speaker Nancy Pelosi's decision to remove Republican members from committees during the last congressional session. Number 2, the Department of Defense announced a military research contract this week to fund Howard University $90 million to research applications of tactical autonomous technology, artificial intelligence in specific roles of defense. The announcement represents the first university-affiliated research center associated with one of America's historically black colleges and universities, and the first sponsored by the Air Force. Many federal and state grants require universities to be what's known as R1 institutions to be considered for funding. However, there are currently no HBCUs with that designation. Number 3, Dr. John Witcher, a Mississippi doctor who leads a group of physicians opposed to COVID-19 vaccine mandates, has filed paperwork to challenge Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves in the state's Republican primary. Witcher has said he was fired from a Mississippi hospital in 2021 after switching patients' COVID-19 medication to ivermectin, the anti-parasite drug that is not authorized by the FDA, and research shows it does not work against COVID-19. February 1st is the qualifying deadline for an election that will include statewide offices, state district offices, legislative seats, and county offices. The general election is November 7th, with runoffs on November 28th. Number 4, Tyree Nichols, a 29-year-old black man, was beaten by 5 Memphis, Tennessee black police officers January 7th during a traffic stop for alleged reckless driving. Mr. Nichols died of his injuries 3 days later. Body camera footage of the fatal attack has been viewed by Nichols' family along with attorneys Ben Crump and Antonio Romanucci. The video has not been released yet to the public. The Memphis Police Department fired the 5 black police officers involved in the incident, concluding the department's internal investigation. Number 5, a proposed bill introduced in the 2023 Colorado legislative session seeks to add yearly in-person mental health assessments for students ranging from 6th grade to seniors in high school. The House bill, otherwise known as the School Mental Health Assessment, would have voluntary mental health evaluations administered by the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. Lawmakers say the primary form of pushback on the bill has been that children at age 12 can consent to mental health assessment even if their parents do not. The proposed bill is set for a hearing item on February 7th. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Surround yourself with people who feed your creativity. Come on in, y'all. Join me today, live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, with our mental health and wellness contributor, Aprilette Russell, and her guest, licensed therapist Tracy Berry McGee, as we talk about today's top headlines and more. To subscribe to my free daily...
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.